Hey guys, and welcome back to Two Girls, Two Cups, the podcast where two girls drink from cups and talk shit.
Woo.
Oh my god, I forgot to clink. Wait, okay. That's good enough. Maybe I'll edit back one of our old clinks. I'll just reuse one of those. So Diana, what's in your cup today?
Today I have water. The package just got delivered. I got a notification. I have water that I've been drinking because I'm very dehydrated right now. But in my mug, I have grapefruit juice, which is pretty boring. But again, I'm moving tomorrow, so everything's packed. This is the only cup that I could find.
What kind of mug is it? It looks cute though. It looks like one of those Luke's Diner mugs.
It's Maddie's
very big,
mug.
Yellow.
She bought it, and it is really big, but she bought it to make baked oatmeal in, so she can make a single serving of oatmeal, so it's oven safe or whatever. But I love just the only cup that I could find.
Mugs that I could use as bowls and eat pasta or ice cream or cereal in it. I don't know, something about that just thrills me to my core.
Yeah, but all the other regular cups are in boxes and packed up and stuff. So all my tea is packed up and our kettle is packed up, and so I couldn't make tea.
Honestly, it's getting kind of hot for tea too, which is sad because I love my morning tea. But yeah, today I'm actually not adventurous at all. I have just water in my mug, and it's the mug I always drink my water in. It's my Troy and Abed mug from the TV show Community, which I feel defined a lot of my personality, growing up in high school.
Yes. She used to watch episodes of Community on her little iPod Nano on that tiny screen.
Oh my god, I remember that. TBT. Yeah, so any weekly updates for you, Diane? I feel it's been a pretty hectic week for everyone. So how's this past week been? Good mood, bad mood, hectic, chaotic? It's eclipse season, so a lot of chaos in the year.
I'm moving tomorrow. So we've been frantically packing. Well, not frantically. We've been packing kind of slowly. But the past couple of days we've been now we got to really pack everything. But more than that, I've been seeing a lot of people. I've been really social the past week because everyone wants to see me before I leave or whatever. So it's every day I have plans to see people, which is fine and nice, but also I'm tired.
A lot of energy is required for all that stuff.
And I had to take my cat to my parents' house yesterday so they can watch her while we move, and I'm just sad. I feel bad about it.
I was just I got that memories notification from Snapchat, and it was just a random snap of me filming me greeting my dog when I got home from work, summer of 2019, and I literally just watched the video 10 times, just being oh, I miss my baby. But yeah, any more updates for your week? Well, it's been actually a few weeks since we recorded our last episode, to be fair.
Yeah, no, so I guess not really. It's mostly literally been prepping to move and seeing people because I'm gonna move. I went to my parents' lake house with them last weekend, and so I don't have any updates because that is there's a black hole of time spent at the lake where nothing interesting ever happens because we're just hanging out. Yeah. And then I worked all week.
Separate from the timeline continuum.
Yeah. And now I'm here. Our movers are showing up at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Oof, that's intense. But yeah, life, man. And then when Diana finally comes to New York, is the same day that I'm leaving New York.
Once again.
And I'm going on my little trip to Nashville. Hopefully everything goes well. It's the trip that got canceled during the pandemic, so I'm just trying not to jinx a single thing. But I'm very excited. I FaceTime this morning with the 4 other girls I'm going with, and we all made our little itinerary and made all our reservations and stuff. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, big drives ahead of both of us. So I don't know. I usually get very anxious when it comes to big drives, but I know I'm not doing this one alone. But it is my first 10-hour car drive. So I'm nervous, but we love a road trip. I made a road trip playlist. I actually wrote an article about my road trip playlist for one of my zines, but I'm very excited. We're also gonna like listen to podcasts and stuff, which yeah, very meta because we're doing a podcast right now. But yeah, life, man.
Yeah, I feel like there are certain like long drives that I do a lot, like the drive to my parents' lake house is like 4 hours, but I do that drive often enough that it doesn't really make me nervous as much. Like it does a little bit. I have like a lot of driving anxiety in general, but the length of that one doesn't really bother me. But going
Are
to
you
New
talking
York,
about the ride to the lake house?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But like going to New York, it's like a similar length, but it's like way more stressful. I hate it. So I'm
Oh,
like
definitely.
stressed
I mean,
about the drive
I-95 is
tomorrow.
the worst. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I don't want to like, part of me wants to see if Maddie will drive for part of it, but then, and I'm sure she would, I would just like feel bad. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've never like switched up like during a road trip. I guess maybe I've like made a pit stop in like Jersey, but and they have like a lot of pit stops along the like turnpike, but I've never like stopped like on the side of a road to switch drivers before, and like that kind of gives me anxiety. I have to like take an exit and like find a parking lot
Yeah,
to,
I mean,
like,
we would
change
probably
drivers.
go because Maddie also has to pee like all the time. So we usually have to make like 3 stops anyway, at like rest stops. So
Oh
we would
yeah, she
probably
does
switch
pee
it.
all the time. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah.
yeah, to Nashville though, it's all just like Route 81 for like 7 hours. So I don't know if they like have pit stops.
Yeah, it's
or
not the
like
same as
stuff
like
like
the
that.
95 rest stops.
Yeah, but my car does have like pretty good mileage, so like hopefully it'll take me like the 10 hours like without needing to stop at a gas station. But I honestly do not know. And also I'm like trying to like get my coolant and everything checked out before I leave too, in the like 2 days I'm home before I go. But hopefully everything's okay. It is a very well taken care of car, so hopefully it's cool. But yeah, I feel like I love the idea of road trips. I've taken maybe 2 proper road trips in my life before. Um, but I don't know. Like I feel like I should be more excited because I always have like a great time on road trips. Like I love driving for the most part, and I love like traveling and like that time you have like in a transportation vehicle where you can just like chill or like talk to your friends, and like you don't have to be doing anything, you're just like enjoying the ride. But the lead up to it, I'm always just so anxious because like being on a road gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
But once I'm doing it, like if I'm in the driver's seat, like when I'm in the process of driving, I'm not as anxious, but it's just like thinking about it beforehand that gets
I'm like
me.
the opposite. Like, I mean, I guess I think like when I'm thinking about it, but I hate driving. Like, I hate driving long distances,
Yeah.
especially like going to New York. Cause it's like most of the drive to New York is like annoying but fine. But then like getting into the city, and then we have to like drive to the apartment and unload, and then we have to
just like
drive over
watching
to
people
Brooklyn.
drive in the city like while on a sidewalk stresses me out.
So I have a lot of, and my sister's birthday is tomorrow and she lives in Brooklyn, and so I have a lot of like, so I need to go like, and the parking spot I got is like near her apartment, so I need to like drive from my place into Brooklyn. And also since it's her birthday, she wants to get dinner, so it needs to be like a reasonable time for dinner, and so I'm just like stressed about getting everything done in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah,
but
I have faith in you though. I think it'll go well as it can.
It's just
go,
gonna be like stressful, and that's
yeah, and sweaty.
inevitable.
But yeah, I don't know. But I am the opposite. Like I feel like I'm that way in a few different things. Like when I used to play soccer, I'd get really anxious like driving to the soccer field and like I don't know, like doing like the warm ups and stuff. Like I get really anxious about playing, and then like once I'm on the field, like dribbling the ball or like doing the actual playing, like I'm fine. It's just the anticipation that gets me. But yeah, I feel maybe it's like the adrenaline of the moment. It like suppresses all of your things or whatever. But yeah, when I'm like driving, I can't really focus on my anxiety. I'm mostly just like focused on the road. So I can't like, it's not, I'm also someone that like, if I have distractions, I feel like calmer. And like, I always listen to music and stuff like that. The only time I'm like driving and also feeling very anxious is like right before I merge. Because that I'm just like, I feel like that's the most likely moment of impact.
Mm-hmm.
But because my mom has always said like merging and stuff, because she's a very anxious woman, but she's like anxious about the opposite things that I'm anxious about. So she has no empathy for me. But she's like, they have to let you in. If they choose not to let you in, they're actively choosing to get in an accident. So they have to slow down to let you in. And people don't people don't really abide by that. They will kill you if they want to, just because they're feeling aggressive that day.
Especially in Maryland and Florida.
Okay, also, I was talking to your sister recently, and she like loves Baltimore and loves Maryland.
Yeah, she loves Baltimore.
And I was like, that's like the one city I've been to that I'm like not a fan of. It's fine.
Yeah, I think she's
and, like people there love it.
She has
but,
like friends there and
me.
stuff, so I think she's just mostly had like positive experiences
Yeah.
there. But yeah, she's always been like, oh, I might move to Baltimore.
Yeah, we talked. It was crazy, but I also joined like a team recently, like on Slack, and it's like all over the US, but randomly like 10 of the 30 people are from Maryland and the DMV area. And I was like, what? And they're all like, we love Baltimore, like to have all these inside jokes about Baltimore. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I've been to Baltimore, but I'm not cued into like the culture as much as I am for like Philly, because I love Philly and I like getting all the inside jokes, even though I don't live there.
Yeah.
But I do love a good road trip. And I feel like the pandemic is also very like conducive to road trip traveling, because it's not public transport. So I'm excited to like properly travel for the first time since the pandemic, and like everybody's vaccinated. So I'm excited. But yeah, but I sort of alluded to, okay, so I saw Diana's sister recently because we went to see John Mulaney, his very, I don't know how to preface his show, but yeah, we saw his show from scratch in New York at the City Winery, which is like a relatively like small medium venue comedy club. It was very cool. I feel like there was so much press around his like residency and his like set of shows in New York, because he's had like so much going on in the tabloids and like online, and a ton of stuff about his social life like came to light, or his private life came to light like the week he started doing shows again after he got out of rehab. He's in like his first year of recovery from relapsing in addiction. So very heavy stuff. And honestly, like it is a comedy set, but all the articles that I read about his show before I saw it were like, it's dark, it's really intense. So I was honestly anticipating something like darker. And you can tell he's definitely like working out his material. Not all of his jokes will like make it into his final set or like the special or whatever. So it's cool to see like him working through that. But yeah, it was more lighthearted than I thought it would be, and it was very funny and enjoyable. Like he's still like good at his job, which is like nice. Yeah. And I still like his humor. And it was interesting. I feel like his best bits too were like when he talked about his intervention and his rehab. So there were definitely like a lot of jokes that like got leaked to the press and like reviews of his shows and stuff. But there was also a lot that like he either changed or like it wasn't reported on. It was very enjoyable. But it still like was much like darker subject matter. But it was good. He made a joke about how like his Bo Burnham special came out recently, and it's like really hip with the kids because like everybody's depressed. So, but I feel like it teetered on the same tone of like, it's funny, but it's also dark.
Yeah.
Which I also feel like there's no other tone you can take on comedy, like coming out of the pandemic. Like I feel like anyone doing like very superficial, lighthearted comedy right now is kind of like missing the point.
Yeah.
But yeah. And also he sort of like alluded to like being canceled and like whatever that means, and like he's not hip with the kids anymore or whatever. And I feel like he's not totally canceled, but I don't know, people were sad that he got divorced, and he was like, people get divorced, like I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
But also the first time I saw him without a suit, so the illusion was he was wearing like a black pullover and jeans. But yeah, I also like saw him pretty up close. I was like, wow, he like looks like his face. Crazy. Who would have
Wow.
thought? But yeah, very exciting. I got the tickets last minute because I was like, I couldn't get tickets because like the website was broken and like everything, it all fell apart multiple times. And then like 12 hours or something crazy before the show, I like got off the wait list and they're like, tickets are like available, like go buy them now. And then I bought some. It was crazy. It was amazing. And I think people just like originally bought tickets and then like knew they couldn't go, but like wanted tickets and they couldn't really resell them. So yeah, it wasn't like a packed house, like there were empty seats. So crazy stuff. Life, man. That's my little John Mulaney review. With still being big. He definitely at one point was like, so someone wrote an article and basically just listed all of my set and all the bits that I did so that you didn't have to come see it and no, like you didn't have to buy tickets. But we'll see what he does next. I don't know if it's like impolite to address some of the stuff that's in tabloids, but the word on like the LA comedy scene on TikTok is that he got Olivia Munn pregnant, which I mean, who knows? But I guess we'll find out like in 9 months. I feel like a baby rumor is it only has so many legs, you know, until it's like, well, there's no
Either
baby
they
inside.
have a baby or they don't have a baby. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. But it was really nice though. It was like my first like proper live event too since the pandemic. And I was like, got little seats and like, you know, a performance. I don't know. Like I love live shows and it's not the same as live music, but it's still that like being a part of an audience and like having that communal experience was very nice. There was like one kind of bitchy girl in the audience who made one snide comment right next to me and her friend went like this, like pointed her out in the crowd because I think they just wanted attention and they were like drunk or something. And then she her friend was like, she can stand up, like if you can't see where she is, like where the voice came from. And then he was like, you don't need to stand up, like I'm gonna ignore you. I was like, good. And then there was a girl like behind me and a little bit to the left that when he mentioned Bill Hader, she was like, I love Bill Hader. And I was like,
I love Bill Hader.
Same.
You
I love him.
Bill Hader.
I feel we all love Bill Hader. But yeah, it was a good show. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's nice to know that I still like his brand of comedy too. And he still like had the same sort of like personal approach to different, you know, topics and stuff. Even if the subject matter got like darker and not as family friendly. There was a family though in the very front that we had like a Black comedian open for him. And he definitely was like, he did all his like white upper class family jokes on this poor family up front. But it was really funny. So the opener was like really funny too. Very much enjoyed it. But yeah, his last name was Smith. And I was like, brethren. But yeah, that's that on all the updates. I'm excited for like life to slowly become interesting again and like have all these things to do. All these changes in the air. Your new life is about to begin in the big city. But yeah, exciting stuff. So I don't think I told you what I plan to discuss on today's episode. I was like, do I have a plan? Who knows? But I was thinking, okay, so but also sidebar beforehand. Today is Sunday, whatever fucking day in June it is. But Carly and Aaron, these two YouTubers that I watch and Diana sometimes watches, also released their own podcast. And I feel like we've tried to do a lot of different like media shows on various different platforms before. And they're also like popular YouTubers who like they do something together as friends. And we started a podcast that like has sort of like a cheeky title that sort of alludes to sex but isn't. And then they released a podcast called Only Friends, which also alludes to sex but isn't. And I'm just like, they're copying our brand. Like we are the OGs. We started our first YouTube channel in like 2011 and they started in 2014. Like they're stealing all our material, you know?
They are.
So
let's sue them.
Yeah. So I guess I don't think anyone has listened to our podcast. Like actually, no one. But whoever does listen, they know that they were in like, the what's it called? The hipster content, the like underground stuff, the
Yeah.
cool stuff before everybody else knows about it. We can take that street cred, whether or not it's actually valid. But yeah, so today I thought it'd be cool to discuss like the idea of, because I feel like a lot of things are changing in our lives and we're both 24 now, that I feel like we're adults, maybe. I wanted to talk about like what you thought about adulthood, like as a kid, like as like 9-year-old, 10-year-old, preteen, and like what it's actually like now. Like what sort of ideas or dreams or like plans did you have, and like it's like an expectations versus reality of like taking stock
Yeah.
of what your life now is now, like as like a mid-20s person. I don't claim that. I'm early 20s. I don't I regret saying that.
Now 24 is
Yeah.
mid-20s.
Yeah, I talked about late 20s with your sister and she was like, no, not until 27.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think mid is 24 to 26, and then
I think that's true.
27 and on. But yeah, okay, I can run with that. Oh, okay, I can run with that. The issue that I have isn't really an issue, it's just something to talk about, is that I feel like as a kid I didn't have very many like clear-cut expectations. Like I never had like a dream job really. Like I just didn't. I was like, I don't know, people would ask me what I want to do, I'm like, I have no idea, I'm 10, like I have no idea what I want to do, I don't know what I'm going to be doing when I'm XYZ age. It wasn't until like middle school, high school that I started to really have like any kind of particular career interests, and they were mostly like medical related, like science.
I think at one point you said you wanted to be a medical examiner, the doctor that like cuts open dead people, for people who don't know.
And I for a few years that's like what I wanted to do, and then it was like more generally I want to like go into medicine, and then I was like, that takes too much time, too much money, too much school. But I never had like a clear expectation of what I thought adulthood would be like. I was just like, I'm a kid right now, so like whatever. I'm
just a kid.
Yeah, it was sort of like, oh, I'll figure it out when I get there. Or but in that same vein, like I didn't know what to expect, but I know now that what I expected is not what it feels like. I don't know. Because when you're a kid and you think of like a 25-year-old, you're like, they're basically my mom. Like, regardless of how old your parents actually are, you're like, that is like an adult person who's like an adult. And I just feel like an extension of my kid self still, because I'm just me. I don't feel like I changed into an adult, because it like happens gradually. So I don't feel like what I would have considered an adult back then. But it's not because I didn't achieve a specific end goal. It's just because that's not how adults feel. Adults feel like they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Did you always picture yourself in like a city like New York or DC?
I didn't really think, that's the kind of thing, is like I guess in high school, like middle school and high school, I thought about it more, but like as a kid, I was like, I don't know, I live here, I'll probably go places someday, whatever. But then in middle school, like high school time, I was like, oh, I want to go somewhere like fun, city wise. And then in college, I was like, I just don't want to be where I grew up. And then now I'm where I grew up, but I'm moving tomorrow. So yeah, I guess I probably had brief moments when I was a kid where I was like, it'd be so cool to like have a lot of like property, because I really liked like running around in the woods where my grandma lived and stuff like that. And I was like, I just want to be able to explore outdoors all the time. But then I got over that.
Like, you don't want
I mean,
land anymore.
It just seems like a lot of work, and
because I feel like a lot of people sort of switch, like because of the pandemic and people are like forced to evaluate like their living situation. People are like, no, I actually do want more space and to like not be in a city anymore.
I do want space, but not like
but not like outside space.
I mean, it would be nice to have outdoor space, but like I feel like as much as it's like, oh, it'd be nice to have outdoor space, I'm more like I understand how much work it is to like take care
It
of a
is a
lot of
lot to
space.
maintain.
Like I don't
Yeah.
want a lot of indoor space even because like you got to clean and like I don't know. And so it's like I want enough space and I want to be able to access outdoor space, but I don't need to own it right now because that means I have to take care of it and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think part of me
And
is
I don't
like I
know.
want to be in a city where stuff is going on because I've been bored for the past year, you know?
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I definitely like, I don't know. I've spent a lot of time like in the DC metropolitan area that I feel like I had access to like the city nightlife for a lot of like my like early adulthood, I guess. I don't know. I'm still in early adulthood, but like of drinking age and stuff like that. But like I don't know. I remember very young I always wanted to like live in a ton of different places. And then when I got older, like I realized like moving is really stressful and is terrible and very hectic in a lot of logistics that I was like, I don't think I can anymore. But I don't know. I also like I definitely, especially just like with the pandemic and getting a lot of time to walk my dog while I was home. Like I definitely like appreciated the nature like near where I grew up a lot more. And I like the idea of living near woods. I've never really thought about like having land that I own. Because I mean, I feel like that is a lot to maintain. Because also, I feel like if you're or not old enough, but if you're wealthy enough to like own acres of land that you need to maintain and take care of, you're wealthy enough to like have a gardener and like employ
Well, it depends on where
people
you are. Like around
as a
here,
household. And I feel
yes,
like
that's
that's so
true. But
weird.
like near like in Roanoke or like near the lake house, like it's not that expensive to own land there. So it's like I think
Yeah.
there that's not necessarily true. Like around here,
Well, I guess
yeah.
I'm thinking
Like
of
yeah,
like
that's true.
acres and acres of like farmland.
Yeah, like my aunt and uncle have like 50 acres or something of farmland, but they don't have enough money
Wow.
to have people
But
take
they
care
don't
of it.
maintain it.
They maintain it
Because I guess
themselves.
if it's like, oh wow,
But they
that's a
can't
lot.
like afford like they can afford the land, but they can't afford like
Yeah.
to have people maintain
Oh
it
yeah,
for
yeah.
them.
Yeah. Do they spend a lot of time working their property, or
Yeah. I
do
mean,
they
it's like
kind of let nature
seasonal
take care of
dependent.
itself? Hmm.
They used to have multiple horses. They have one horse now. So that one horse can't really maintain all of it, but they like they maintain it reasonably. But it doesn't need to be like beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know, it's still like a lot of work in there. They're getting older.
Yeah. It is a lot of work.
But yeah, I don't know.
But
I also have always wanted I've had this like dilemma of I've always wanted to live near water.
I've
Which I
always loved
think
water.
I'll like come back to that once I'm done with my New York time is I'll
Yeah. Well, New York still has water too.
yeah, but yeah. I would rather live near like
I spend like a lot of time
water.
near the Hudson River, honestly.
Yeah, but I like want water that I can actually enjoy.
Oh, to swim in?
Or like at the lake, it's like that water you can swim in, you can like
Yeah.
boat on it, and it's like
Go
we
boating.
like have
Yeah,
land
you
on
can't
it.
be in the water in New York.
Yeah,
You can't
and
touch
so I
it.
don't want that.
Mm.
But then the like sort of opposite end of that is I've always had an irrational because of where I live, not irrational in general, an irrational fear of tsunamis. So like obviously if I'm on a lake, not a big problem.
Dude,
But
I
if
had a
like, live
dream
near the
about a
coast,
tsunami the
that's a
other
problem.
day. That's creepy.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it was weird. And I like survived. Honestly, you might have been there. I don't know. I was like in a house
I
full
probably
of a
didn't
few different
survive.
people, and it was this old Victorian house. Um, and there was this wave coming, and so we locked everything down, and I was like, the water's gonna get through all the creaks and the cracks of like a house built of wood. And then it came and it didn't, and the water like rushed over the house and we were fine. And it was crazy, really crazy. But I mean, that has nothing to do with anything.
But yeah, no, my two like biggest fears as a kid, like living in my oh my god, my Siri just activated. Whoops. Anyway, my two biggest fears as a kid, both irrational based on where we grew up. Tsunamis and drive-by shootings.
Really?
Well, because you know at my parents' house that my bed has always been like right next to my windows.
Oh.
And so I
You're
would
not
like
even
lay
like
in
at
bed.
a road. You're in a court. There's
No,
no
I know.
people.
I would
Nobody's
like,
driving.
it was completely irrational, but I would lay in my bed and I would think if somebody drove past my house with a machine gun and just started shooting, I would die.
Wow.
Which is, anxiety
That's
manifesting in ways
crazy.
that doesn't make
Because
sense.
I feel like I have irrational fears of like someone like an intruder like in my house, or like someone setting fire to my house, but never a drive-by shooting.
Well, yeah,
It was
so
always like a mysterious man who for some
really
reason was compelled to like kill my family.
Yeah,
which
so
doesn't
that
exist.
fear, the drive-by shooting fear and the tsunami fear, both died down and were replaced by more realistic fears as I got older. But like as a kid, that was what I was like really afraid of. But now like every person on the street will murder me. That is the fear now, Walk down the street and I don't trust anyone. I'm like,
well, you should. People in the street are crazy. You don't know who's
yeah,
who,
and so that's what I'm saying.
know?
It's like they're more reasonable fears now, or like, oh, someone's gonna be in my house or whatever.
Yeah. No, I do, because I also always liked the idea of like having a ton of houses and places, apartments, whatever, in like different areas, which is like a very rich person thing to have. But I also like getting older too, I was like, oh, that's actually like like having housing and not occupying it, it's like not a great thing to do, especially if it gets excessive. Like I know a lot of people who like aren't filthy rich have like are like bi-coastal and stuff like that, but like because I had when I was younger, I literally was just like, I want to live in Chicago, San Francisco, Seattle, Boston, like everywhere. I wanted to live everywhere. I didn't want to have to choose. And I think I've realized that I think that just means I like traveling, and that I should just go to a lot of places very often, and I don't have to move my whole life. But I think I do like part of my love of traveling is like going to a new place and just like living a different life for a few weeks. And sometimes I just like I don't want to go back. But maybe that's a sort of the other things. But yeah, I don't know. I also think I'm at a stage in my life where like I'm trying to imagine various different lives I can pursue and create for myself. And it's like hard to choose and also come to terms of like limited opportunities, or what opportunities I should like put my resources towards and stuff like that. Like you have to close doors to open doors sometimes to move forward. And it's hard to come to terms with that sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. I was very unrealistic as a kid in terms of like what I expected my life to be as an adult. Also, I feel like nationally, politically, like environmentally, like I didn't expect to have all these, really big things to also pop up in my life that would like impact my life decisions. Like I didn't think about like a pandemic or a terrible president, or like economy stuff that like limits my opportunities, but or like having to incorporate global warming into like child planning and family planning and like where I choose to move and stuff. Like if the world literally starts to like physically fall apart, like where's the safest to like own property and like be safe from natural disasters and stuff like that. Like owning property in New York is really lucrative usually, but also it's like the housing market here is crazy now, and also like in 10 years it'll be underwater, so like
it's an island.
Right?
Because I'm like, oh, when I was a kid I would never have thought to like move to Canada because it's so freaking cold, but now I'm like, it's not gonna be that like cold for very long. Like, I don't know. So because I always wanted kids. That's like a big thing. It's like, and obviously I can't say that I like haven't achieved XYZ thing, because I'm like, I'm 24. Like I didn't expect to have kids when I was 24, but now I'm like, it's like selfish to like bring more children into the world. So now I'm like, oh, maybe I'll like adopt or foster or whatever, which I still maybe would have planned on doing when I was younger. But now I'm like, well, I can't just think of like myself when I'm like, not just myself, but like I can't just like have kids because I want to have kids. I have to think like, is this a responsible thing to do?
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy to think about. And it's weird to like, because there's so many people our age who will like, I'll think about that in 10 years. And there are people our age that are like, oh, I thought about it and now I have 2 children. So it can be weird sometimes being in your like early to mid 20s. I don't claim the mid 20s. It still makes me feel weird to say it. But I don't know. In terms of career, also when I was a kid, like I was a very, I don't know, like I never looked up to what my parents did at all. And like they were, reasonably happy and like reasonably successful, but I was never like, oh, I want to do that when I grow up.
No,
Like
I would.
I
My
was
parents, yeah,
very strictly like, I want to be an author, a rock star. I wanted to be in a band for the longest time until I realized I needed like friends and also musical friends. And none of that happened in middle school. I also planned for this to happen to me in middle school, that I would find friends to start a band with me, because that was the age Paramore was. And so when I left middle school, not having made any friends who want to be in a band with me, I was like, my time's passed. I'm never going to be young and successful in a band.
Yeah, I guess I had like
because my
aspirations
window was closed.
Like that, where I was like, I want to be a pop star, I want to be an actor, but it was like I knew like,
it
was
really
never
take steps
a
to
reasonable
do that.
thing. I was like, that'd be so cool. That's my dream. But then I was like, but that's never gonna happen, because like I don't have talent, or I don't have XYZ, or I need to be like more responsible than that. It was just like never. It was like a kid dream, but not a real dream. But yeah, the same with my parents. Like my parents are both engineers. I am also an engineer, but they do like aviation stuff. And I have never been interested in it. I don't think it's interesting. I was like, I never want to do that. But then in high school, I was like, well, you know, I like math and science, and so engineering is like reasonable. But then I did CS, computer science, which is like, I think it's like the easy engineering, because I'm not doing like physics and stuff like that. So I guess some people would say that I like followed in my parents' footsteps. I don't think that I did. But I think generally I did. Like I did like the like responsible path, but then I just like veered off at the end, because I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like at a certain point, like by high school, I think I was like, I knew I wanted to do something media related, because it was the only thing that like seemed interesting to me. And it never occurred to me to like do something I wasn't interested in. But now that's like literally what every adult is telling me to do, is they're like, you need to make money. Who cares about your future and like what you want to do in life?
Because
at a certain point, I was like, I want a better
like
life than the people who are older than me. And like, you should always be satisfied with your choices. But I'm like, I'm young. Don't start closing doors on me before I need to.
People are just more worried because they're like, and not everyone obviously, but I think some people are like, I want you to do something that makes you happy, but I know that the world is terrible, and if you don't have money, then you can't do anything. And so people are just like worried.
Yeah, and also I think it was something people thought was possible in like 2003, that their kids could do anything they wanted. And now they're like, our economy is trash. Every industry is dying. Like our capitalist society is more exploitative than ever. Like no one can do what they want. And also the food industry and service industry, those industries are like super demonized.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know. It's weird, but it's also, I don't know. I think there was a point when I was a kid that I was like, oh, I want to do like this idea of a career. And then as I like went into college, like past high school, I was like, oh, like I like this area of an industry or a field of work. And then like, now I'm finally at the point of like, oh, like this job title is the role that I want to do. And like, that is something I want to do and can be good at. But I don't know. It's weird, like liking and trying to work in media, because it's like, some of it can be like talent related, but it's weird to like, it's not an industry where it's like you have a skill and then you go and do that skill. Like it's very like communication skills and organization, like these very like heady ideas, where it's like, I feel like there are a lot of friends that are like, I majored in like accounting, and so now I do math, and I like do math, and that is the work that I have done in that day, and then they compensate me for it. Where it's like, when your work is just like having meetings and like talking to people and like discussing things, it's harder to like, I don't know, explain to people, but then also like feel like you're providing something of value to society. And so that's also something that like as an adult I'm like, oh, like it's not like what you want to do or like what is fun to do. It's like, what do people value in the workplace?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's tricky. I like the idea of like doing a lot of different things over my life and having a lot of different careers, which is like relatively easy in media because there's so much overlap. But of course there are like barriers of access for that. But I don't know. It's like it's hard to think long term and then also be young and then also see the world fall apart and like have anxiety and constantly fear dying all the time. And then someone's like, save for retirement, like buy into the system that like you don't believe in and like shouldn't exist in 10 years anyways. So I don't know. But I need healthcare, so I will do anything, whatever anybody wants for minimum wage.
Oh.
Oof. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely, when I was like a very small kid, I definitely was like, 19 is so old and I'm gonna be like a rock star at 19. But yeah, also I like wanted to sing for a long time when I was like a small child and then realized I would have to like go on a stage and sing. And I was like, that sounds terrible. I never want to do that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, people would have to watch me do something? Like, no,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah. Besides career wise, I felt like I thought I would look old. And then I just never looked old.
I like would try to picture what I would look like as an adult, and it was always like a black hole, and I just never wanted to figure it out. So I never like thought about it that much. Like, oh, I wonder, and then I'd be like, that's scary. I don't want to think about it, and then I would stop.
Yeah, I don't know, because there are definitely people who like their face changes a lot or they look really different when they get older, and I feel like I just like never made a transition.
Yeah, you just look.
Which is also scary because
same.
the timeline for people who like have baby faces, it's just straight from like 16-year-old, 12-year-old into grandma. You just look like a grandma when you get old. There's no in between where you get to look like a respectable adult who can do adult things, you know? But, and I think part of it is the like TV shows hiring 25-year-olds to play 15-year-olds on TV.
Yeah.
That I just like expected to look really old when I was a teenager. And like teenagers looked old to me when I was like 9. And then it's because you make like you go through the slow evolution like in person. It's like not as drastic. Like I didn't wake up 16 and look like a 16-year-old on TV.
Yeah.
But and I still don't look like a 16-year-old on TV. Those people look so much older than me. But on the bright side, if I ever get to see Olivia Rodrigo like in concert, I'll blend right in, you know?
It's true.
Good stuff. But yeah, have you listened to her new album? I can't remember
Of course I have.
it had come out from our like in between our last episode or something.
Yeah, it came out after we recorded our last episode, but of course I've listened to it. Of course.
It's so good. Also, like her like punk influenced tracks are like phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. She's very talented too. I'm glad that she's like she has more control over her image and stuff like that because she's not signed to Disney's label. But I don't know, man. It's like she's a teenager and like she looks like a teenager and she's just like not trying to be anything.
And she acts like a teenager.
Right. And it's just I'm like I feel like hopefully Gen Z will like heal a lot of the intergenerational wounds that most people get passed on. I don't know, because there's that whole, you know, Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato, like Lindsay Lohan, like Disney to like child star tragedy pipeline that I feel like she's able to like circumvent.
Is Miley Cyrus a child star tragedy? I guess so. She did a lot of weed, which isn't a bad thing, but she probably did other drugs too.
Yeah, definitely.
But there was never also, like she didn't get arrested.
It wasn't that like her life is a tragedy, but I feel like she went through a lot of shit as an 18-year-old.
For sure.
Like from the media and like a lot of criticism and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and also a lot of the more drastic choices she made was in response to her treatment as a child.
Yeah.
And so I feel like maybe if we're not letting Olivia Rodrigo get exploited to the same extent, maybe she won't feel the need to, you know, make such drastic choices in her life. But also, who knows? But yeah, I feel like Billie Eilish. I love the new Billie Eilish song that's out, Lost Cause. But I love the music video. It looked so fun. But then, like with her new album cycle, she's wearing like like nightgowns and like cheeky little lingerie, and she did like a shoot for Vogue where she like wore a corset, and people were like, oh my god, another like child celebrity becoming sexualized.
She's an adult.
And I'm like, well, it's because she's finally an adult. Like, let her be an adult.
Yeah.
And also, it's so tame. What she's doing is so tame, but just like she's not wearing baggy jean shorts and a huge ass t-shirt anymore that they're like, wow, sexualized. And I'm like, or she's just like a regular like 20-year-old. 19? I have no idea how old she is. She was born in 2001 though, so. Can you hear the siren?
Yes. Oh, my dryer's done.
Hello. But yeah, so, but yeah, good music picks for the week. I guess we don't have to talk about our music picks for the week. Because I feel like the Gen Z like music stars are just like, I don't know, doing really well, releasing really good music just in time for, you know, hot girl summer. Woo. But yeah, also Spotify released that like Only You sort of like featurette thing where it's kind of like their end of the year stuff, year in review. I have no idea what they call it, but for like midway through the year. And they've released this like horoscope thing where it's like they choose an artist to be your sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign. And so I got my sun sign, it's like your most played artist, and I got Microwave because they're the band I listen to and I am really depressed. And I listened to just Microwave all of like December and January. So it's like definitely my most played. And then my moon sign was Harry Styles, and they called it like your most emotional artist, and he's not emo. So I have no idea what they're talking about. But I guess he's like an emotional boy and we love and support him. But I feel like the album Fine Line was just like a good album, not overly emotional. Do you? Oh my god,
Maddie
why?
and I have canceled him this year, so we don't
oh my god,
subscribe to
why?
him. Because we love Jason Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis. Oh my god, because he's dating Olivia Wilde. Oh
so we've canceled Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles.
A lot of marriages fell apart, man. Damn. Well, do you like Olivia Wilde still? Or,
no, we've canceled her.
Because she has like a really cool movie coming out too with Florence Pugh, and I love Florence Pugh. I love Florence Pugh.
But I don't like Olivia.
Yeah, he's also in 2 movies. He's in that Olivia movie, Kill Your Darlings, and then he's in something else where he's like a gay police officer. I like Harry, but I understand why you cancel him.
He's canceled in our apartment.
Because Olivia Wilde's mom was like, she ran for Congress or local Congress.
State. She ran for state
Congress. In the town you went to college in Charlottesville. and Harry recently visited her parents in Charlottesville. So they're like walking around, you know, our side of the US. And I was like, oh my god, I've been there. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people were like, oh, it's for press. I mean, that's a hell of an intense relationship for just for press. But I don't know, man. I do like Jason Sudeikis, but not excessively. So I have no reason to to cancel anyone who has wronged him. But yeah. Ooh, and then my rising sign was Annie DeRusso, who I love and I play all the time. And she was one of like my artists of the week or music pick of the week on one of the episodes. So I also wrote a zine article about her, which is coming out, I think Monday on the same day as this podcast. So we'll see what happens. But love her. But yeah, have you checked out the app yet? Do you know who you are?
Yes, I have a screenshot of mine, and I was really confused by mine because my son was Taylor Swift, and I was like, I don't listen
She's
to
your
Taylor
most
Swift.
played artist.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was confused because I was like, I don't even think I took a screenshot of it because I was so upset about it. But I figured out why. I don't have a screenshot of it. I have a screenshot of the other stuff. Because I had people over a couple of times, and both times one of my friends was here, and she specifically asked for me to play all of Taylor Swift discography except for like her most recent album or something. And so we listened to that like twice for a few hours at a time. And that's why. Because I was like, why? I was like,
I guess that like
I don't just like
nonstop
listen to
on
Taylor
a
Swift
loop thing.
ever.
Yeah.
I was like,
that sucks that it like
something
fucked
else.
up your like algorithm and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like, there's music of hers that I really do like a lot, and there's music of hers that I really don't like. And then just her as a person, I'm just not a fan of. So it's just a really complicated relationship because people are so polarized about it. And I have like,
I was gonna say, I don't have a strong opinion about her as a person. I haven't listened to any of her new albums like at all. And then the old stuff I only like because it's like nostalgic.
Yeah. But I have, because she's also, it's that tricky thing of like being a white woman for people where it's like, you are the victim of a lot of misogyny, but then you also perpetuate a lot of misogyny, and like other oppressive things, that it's like you're a victim and a villain at the same time, and it's very complex thing to be in the public eye. And so it's weird because she's been, you know, at like the target of so much shit from the industry and the public, that like there's a sense of camaraderie amongst a lot of my friends who listen to her, that like they have to support her. And I'm just like, ugh, I just don't want to have a stance on her. Like,
yeah, I've just never like,
it's more complicated than that.
Her enough to like be a Taylor Swift fan,
yeah.
because
and
that
I also
means that
like don't want to support her just because we have like common enemies. Like, that's not a good look.
Yeah, the one screenshot that I do have of that like thing, the like the stuff about you, I thought it was funny, so I took a screenshot of it, and it's just playing "Wouldn't Change a Thing" by Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas, which is from Camp Rock 2. It's playing "Wouldn't Change a Thing" by Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas in the evening is pretty much the most you thing ever. I was like, it probably is.
Oh my god! Wow.
But yeah, I didn't screenshot the address and stuff because I was like,
I love Demi Lovato. I don't support her, but I love her. Just emotionally, I feel like it's like that girl who I liked when I was a kid. But and
I haven't decided if I support her.
I like, because I don't know enough music, because she's also like trying not to be
doing.
Yeah,
to know if I support her.
Yeah, she's also said like, I don't want people to look at me and think that they can like do the same things as I'm doing and be fine. Like, don't. But then she's still, you know, very open about herself. So it's a weird line to walk. And I'm also undecided. But like, I love like punk rock Demi, but I never listen to her. I'm never like, oh, I'm gonna listen to Demi Lovato today.
No,
I'll just like play some songs randomly.
I have like this one playlist that's like the most. Like,
I don't think I've ever listened to that song before. The Joe Jonas and Demi Lovato song.
It's from Camp Rock 2.
Oh, I never listened
to
Camp Rock
song. There's like a random playlist that I have that's like the most random collection of stuff, and it has like Camp Rock stuff in it, and also has like non-Disney musical stuff in it. And so that a lot of the time, oh my god, my Siri keeps activating. So a lot of the time, if I'm just like, I don't know what I want to listen to, I put that on, and then if that song comes on, I'm like, yes. Anyway,
yeah, but there are a lot of like deep cut tracks from her discography that like go really hard. That if I just like shuffle her like first or second album, that I'm just like, oh, this is amazing. Why haven't I listened to this? But life, man. But yeah, so you don't know like your like sun rising or moon artists?
I just remember because I was like angry because everyone was posting on Instagram their like screenshot of it, and I was like, I don't like Taylor Swift should not be on my chart, and so I didn't save it.
Yeah, I think mine, like my moment or whatever, was listening to the Hayley Williams song "Trigger" at night, and I'm like, oh, sad song, that makes sense. Hayley Williams, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I like the astrological theme to it. I love astrology. I love a good tarot card reading. But yeah, life, man. I always like to see what I listen to the most. As of late, I guess. But yeah, I guess on that note, do you want to like go to our co-star horoscopes and finish out the episode?
I looked at my co-star earlier today.
I'm so sweaty today.
And because people at brunch were talking about birth charts. This one's funny because it's very me. It says, you don't have to punish yourself for being passive. Good, because I'm always passive.
That's so true though.
And then I have power in thinking and creativity, pressure in spirituality and sex and love, and trouble with routine, social life, and self. And then my do's are manicures, sage, and pillow
Ooh.
fort. And my
I
don'ts
love
are
sage.
deflection, oversleeping, and dishes in the sink. So,
Ooh.
and this says you are more sociable than you think, which is funny.
I
'Cause
think
I'm
that's true.
Currently socially exhausted.
I feel that, well, yeah, but I also feel like you socialize a lot, but then you're just like constantly exhausted by it.
Yeah.
And not
this
like
past
within
week,
the past year, but I feel like you
being
have very
drained.
active, like big friend groups, and
Yeah,
not
I
like
was just,
huge,
like,
but like I don't
keeping
know
in
many
touch.
people who have like groups that they're like it's a whole friend group where everybody knows each other. But I feel like that aspect of it keeps you pretty active.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think you're just
not a
like
lot.
because you hate a lot of things, you're just like effortlessly cool, and you don't want to hang out with everybody, so that everybody wants to hang out with you. I feel like that's your vibe.
Okay. I don't know how to take that, but okay.
How do you mean you don't know how to take that?
I don't know. Because it's like
Do
a
you
compliment,
think-
but it's also not a compliment. Because, like,
Well, because I feel like you never actively try to hang out with people. People are just like, I love Diana, I want to hang out.
yeah, I guess, and I think that's like part of the. I have.
I feel like you've
groups
never
of
asked to hang out
friends.
with me a single time in our entire lives, Diana.
I'm
I
just
feel like
bad at
that's
that, and
accurate.
I again, like, since I have like groups of friends, usually at least a few people in the group are like pretty outgoing and like extroverted and want to do stuff, so they'll just like make plans and then I just go.
Yeah, I mean, that's every introvert's dream is to like be adopted by an extrovert to like outsource making plans
Yeah.
to someone else.
I've just gotten lucky that there are people that decide they want to invite me to things.
Yeah, because also,
And also since I live with someone like that is my
Mm.
friend, there's like built-in socialization.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't know. Once I'm like comfortable enough with a friend, I feel no shame. Like I don't get the like double texting or like
No, I don't really.
they don't reach out as much as I do. Like if once they've reached an inner circle level, I'm just like, I'm annoying. So
Yeah, I know
like
that
I
I'm
don't
bad
feel
at
shame about
texting.
asking people to
And
hang
so
out.
I'm like, I don't care if I double text because
Yeah.
a lot of the time I just forget stuff I want to say or I type something wrong and whatever. I'm just bad at like reaching out to hang out with people because half the time I'm like, oh, if I don't have plans, like I'll just like I'll just like read or whatever. Or I'm like, oh, like what if they're busy? Like, I don't
I
know.
feel like my hair is sticking to my body from all the sweat. But because my door is closed, so the AC can't come in. But for mine, today says show your complexity, which I'm too tired to do that right now. But power and routine, which is nice. I've definitely been like waking up at 8 most days, which is like crazy. I haven't been going to sleep early, so it's not great, but and then trouble with everything else, trouble with thinking and creativity, spirituality, social life, sex and love, and self, which that's fine. It's eclipse season, it's chaotic. Today through tomorrow, are you taking everything personally? I'm a personable person, so it's fine. I don't know. Because sometimes I'm just like, I'll try and let things go and not take things personally. And then I'll think back and I'm like, I should have spoke up and like told that someone they were being shitty because I don't have time to like regret letting someone speak to me a certain way. Yeah. But that's besides the point. Today, your emotions leak out over everything. You trivialize your emotions, let the nagging little voice in your head control you, and don't have the energy to suppress it. Ooh. Notice willfulness in you. Ask yourself, is this effective? You already know when to push yourself, and that's a start. I feel like that's good advice. Okay, so do PB&J, warm laundry, and elbow pads. I don't do any activity that requires elbow pads. I've never done an activity where I've had to wear elbow pads, but I do need to do laundry. I'm taking laundry home to do before my trip. And then don't scrutiny, don't crumbs in bed, and don't steal wool, like those steel wool like soap pads you use in service industry. It's okay. Open up space to exhale with a water sign. What are you, air? I feel like you're a
I'm
lot
not water.
air. You have a lot of air in your chart, but I think Virgo is earth, Gemini is air, Aries is also air. So I'm mostly air signs. And also you have 2 Aquariuses in your big 3. So you're also very heavily air. But you don't have to display your anger. A water sun doesn't think your presence is like a spoiled toddler, even if you're acting out. They can teach you to slow down. Fun fact, I have a scheduled phone call with my friend who's a Pisces, so it works out. Learn from water suns, avoid air moons. You're an air moon and I'm an air moon. That sucks. Anyways, how to handle this period. You are more fearless than you think. Your moon is in Aries. This means you are built to withstand pressure. In fact, this is what fuels you. This restrictive time will not crush you. Trust your ferociousness. Okay, I guess. But yeah, it is eclipse season. So all the timelines are sped up. All the moves that are being made are towards your destiny, whether they're bad moves or good moves. So that's the vibe for the current eclipse season. Also, we scheduled my Nashville trip to line up with the eclipse. Our friend was like, eclipse is happening like in between Silvana and Maya's birthday. Like, let's go on a trip then. And I was like, yes. But yeah, you just have to lean into the flow, you know? You don't resist. We're not all salmon. But anyways, I feel like we're a little over time anyways. So
Yeah.
Good episode.
Woo-hoo.
Very loose, not that much structure, made a few mistakes, but it's all good.
But that's okay. Life isn't perfect.
Exciting stuff coming up in our lives. So next episode we record will probably be kind of crazy and intense. So we'll see what happens. All right, bye.